The laughter echoed through the observation gallery of the Celestial Vanguard, a sound that had become all too familiar to Frozen during her first weeks aboard the intergalactic training vessel. Below her, through the reinforced transprestile windows, the massive training deck sprawled like a metallic arena, its surface gleaming under harsh white lights. A human chittered Zell, a Krell warrior whose exoskeleton shimmered with bioluminescent patterns of amusement. "They've actually sent us a human for the Vanguard program." Frozen kept her expression neutral, her dark eyes fixed on the training deck. She'd heard it all before, the whispers about humanity's physical inferiority, their lack of natural armor, their fragile bones and soft flesh. In a galaxy populated by species that had evolved on high-gravity worlds, or possessed Katanus armor or stood 3 meters tall, humans were considered curiosities at best, liabilities at worst. "She break in the first simulation," predicted a towering Thraxian whose forearms crossed in obvious disdain. "Humans have no business in combat training. Their bones snap like dried twigs." Only one voice didn't join the mockery. Lieutenant Finch, a tactical instructor from Earth's Special Operations Division, stood apart from the other trainers, his weathered face unreadable. He'd been assigned to the Vanguard specifically because of Frozen's presence, said human overseeing a human, as if they were both exotic specimens requiring special handling. "Cadet Frozen," announced Commander Zix through the intercom, their crystalline form refracting light into rainbow patterns. "Report to Training Deck 7. Combat assessment begins in 5 minutes. Frozen descended to the deck, feeling the weight of dozens of alien eyes upon her. The training area was designed for species far larger and stronger than her. The practice weapons alone weighed more than what human military standards would consider reasonable. The gravity generators were set to 1. Vijay standard for most galactic species, but exhausting for humans. Her opponent waited at the center of the deck, a Drenothi champion who'd won 17 consecutive training bouts. He stood nearly twice her height, his 6 limbs ending in razor-sharp talons, his natural armor thick enough to deflect most conventional weapons. "This is pointless," Crothus rumbled, his voice like grinding stone. "I will try not to kill the fragile human, but accidents happen." More laughter from the gallery. Frozen caught Finch's eye briefly. He gave the slightest nod, not encouragement, but acknowledgement. He knew what she was capable of. He'd seen the classified reports. The combat assessment began with a simulation. Crothus would execute a full-force strike using a training weapon, a magstaff capable of generating kinetic force equivalent to a small explosive. Frozen's task was simple: defend herself using only the standard-issue shield generator and her own combat skills. Crothus raised the magstaff, its tip crackling with contained energy. The aliens in the gallery leaned forward, some already wincing in anticipation of the human's inevitable failure. The Drenothi warrior struck. The magstaff descended in a blur of motion, the air itself seeming to scream as kinetic energy built to a devastating crescendo. In that frozen moment, Frozen made her choice. Instead of activating the shield generator, she deactivated it completely. Her bare hand came up to meet the strike. What happened next would be analyzed in training simulations for decades to come. Frozen's hand connected with the magstaff at the precise moment of maximum energy transfer, but instead of the expected results, shattered bones, pulverized flesh, something entirely different occurred. The kinetic energy of the strike met the immovable object of human adrenaline-fueled strength. Backed by a lifetime of training in a species that had evolved to hunt megafauna and survive in one of the galaxy's most hostile environments, the magstaff stopped. For one heartbeat, nothing moved. Then, with a sound like a gunshot, a spiderweb of cracks exploded outward from the point of contact, spreading across the reinforced training deck. The deck plating designed to withstand impacts from species far stronger than humans buckled and shattered. Pieces of metal composite flew like shrapnel. Crothus stumbled backward, his magstaff now bent at an impossible angle, its energy field flickering and dying. The training weapon, designed to be indestructible, had failed before Frozen's hand had. The gallery fell silent. Frozen lowered her hand slowly, examining it with apparent curiosity. A thin line of blood traced across her palm, the only injury she'd sustained. Around her, the training deck looked like it had been struck by a meteor. Commander Zix's voice, when it finally came through the intercom, carried a note of something that might have been awed. "Help!" Finch stepped forward to the gallery railing, his voice carrying clearly across the stunned silence. "Humanity didn't evolve on a high-gravity world," he said calmly. "We evolved on a death world, Earth, where the atmosphere itself is corrosive to most species, where the gravity is considered light only because you haven't experienced our evolutionary pressure." He gestured toward Frozen. Humans don't have armor because we are persistence hunters. We don't have natural weapons because we became the apex predator through intelligence and endurance. And we don't break easily because every generation of humanity has been forged in the crucible of a planet that's tried to kill us since we first stood upright. Frozen flexed her hand, feeling the sting of the cut. The shield generator would have absorbed the impact, she said quietly, her voice carrying in the silence. But you all needed to understand something. You don't underestimate humans because we're weak. You underestimate us because you've never had to survive on Earth. She looked up at the gallery, meeting each alien gaze in turn. We're not fragile. We're efficient. Every gram of our body mass, every muscle fiber, every bone, it's all optimized for survival on a world that makes your heavy gravity planets look hospitable. You have armor because you need it. We don't have armor because we can't afford the weight. We need every advantage, every bit of speed and endurance, because on Earth even the predators have predators. Crothus, still staring at his ruined weapon, finally found his voice. What are you? Frozen smiled, a predator's smile that suddenly made every alien in the gallery remember why humans had the highest ratio of eyes in the known galaxy, the mark of a hunter species. I'm human, she said simply, and if you want to survive in this galaxy, you'd better hope we're on your side. The laughter had stopped. It would never start again, at least not when Frozen was within earshot. The human girl had done more than shatter a training deck. She'd shattered assumptions that had stood for centuries. And in the quiet that followed, Lieutenant Finch allowed himself the smallest smile. Humanity had just announced its presence in the galaxy, in the only language that truly mattered, strength. The training would continue. But now, when Frozen walked the corridors of the Celestial Vanguard, the aliens stepped aside, not out of pity, but out of respect and perhaps just a little bit of fear.